We're here for day 2 of the self-storage SEO masterclass, where in this video, I'm going to break down everything you need to know about on-page optimization for your self-storage facility. Now, this is going to be really important for you because this is going to be one of the main ways you improve your rankings in your market for self-storage plus your city type keywords. Now, these keywords are really critical, and on-page optimization is one of the biggest factors in improving your rankings. In a future training, we will cover off-page factors like link building. But for today, we're going to go deep on on-page optimization and everything you need to do and how you can audit your existing location pages. So first thing to note is your location pages, if you're a multi-location business and facility, are your most important pages on the entire website for SEO. These are the pages that are actually going to rank on Google when people type in self-storage in your city or self-storage near me. Now, in the last lesson, we took a look at what I'm calling the anatomy of the search results. And it's important to look at that and just do a little refresher here. So we'll do self-storage in Austin, Texas. So again, we have ads at the top, and these are paid ads from Google. Then we have map listings. And quite often there's actually an ad that shows first here. Now this is targeted through local SEO. Some of your on-page optimization can influence this to a degree, but there's separate tactics you need to do to rank here. Then we get these questions, which commonly appear, and this can be targeted through sometimes blog content or different informational content on your website. You'll see this is a blog post. Then we get to the traditional organic results, and this is where optimizing your location page is going to help you rank here. If we look at these two REITs, both of these are going, if we look at their URL here, to their location page for Austin. So these location pages and having these optimized are really important for driving rentals and ranking in the traditional organic listings. So if we go back to the training here, so that's the important, why these are important. Now, if you have, depending on how many locations you have, will determine the structure. You could have state, then city, and then street pages if you have multiple facilities in the same street. For most people that don't have that many locations, city pages are going to be fine. So you would have a page for Austin, Texas, a page for Dallas, Texas, whatever cities you're in. And that's typically the ideal structure. Another thing to consider is features. So things like ranking for climate control or business storage or boat and RV storage. Typically you need a different page to target some of those different keywords, and you can't target all of those different things with one page. The best way to determine that is to do something like this, is actually search on Google for a few different types of things. So let's do climate control. So we're going to do 3 types of search here. We have storage units, RV storage, and then climate control storage. So if we look at this result here, we have their self-storage Austin page, and then we have for these guys, Extra Space, we have their storage facilities Austin page. This is for self-storage in Austin. If we type in RV storage, right away we can see there's different ads. We can see different local results, and then we see completely different organic results. So this is a good sign to me that you need a different page. You'll see on this one here, they have an RV storage folder and then their Austin page. This is their home page because it looks like they primarily do boat and RV. So then if we go to public storage, you'll see this is a good example. So previously they had a self-storage Austin page, and now here they actually have an RV. If you look at that /RV at the bottom, and if I click on that, you'll see this is an actual RV storage page that they've developed with copy about that to target that keyword. So RV is a good example of needing a separate page. Now let's look at climate control. So if we go to climate control, you'll see the REITs do a similar strategy. They actually have their Austin page, and then they have a climate control page off the back of that. So now they're able to target climate control facility in Austin. And with their main location page, they're able to target storage units in Austin. Same thing for CubeSmart. They have their Austin self-storage page, and then they have their climate control page. So I think they're a good example to look at. We'll pull up them as well. So that's how I check if you need multiple pages. Look at actually what's showing on Google, and is it the same page? Does Public Storage have one page that's ranking for all those? No, in this case, they have 3 separate pages. And I would look at a few different storage facilities and see if it's the same. So that'll help you figure out what type of location pages you need. Then we need to get into, once you have your location pages set up, and now if you're a single location facility, you have two options. You could still have a location page, which is typically going to be your booking page where people can actually rent the units, or you can optimize your homepage. That's a choice you have to make. My opinion is if you're going to scale and add more facilities, it's better to start having location pages that are optimized and your homepage is more focused just on your brand name. If you have one facility and you're not planning on acquiring more, or at least not in the foreseeable future, optimizing your homepage sometimes can be quicker to get results. But either way, you can make it work. You just need to choose one. Now, in terms of on-page optimization, these are some of the most critical aspects of things you're going to want to look at and improve. So we'll cover all of these, and I actually have a template here that'll have a checklist that you can run through to see if you've optimized these elements. So we'll go through these one by one. We'll start with URLs. So URLs are this, what actually shows up in the browser here and what people click on that determines your page. Now, it's important to optimize these and include words in here that are going to help Google understand what this page is about. It's pretty clear here that this is about Texas, Austin, self-storage, and climate control. You'll see they have all those. Now, what they've done, which in my opinion, they've over-optimized a little bit, is they put self-storage in here twice. That's redundant, and it's a little bit on the keyword stuffing side, not fully. I'd rather see this something like this, like in a folder structure like this, where it's Texas self-storage, then the city page for Austin. You never need to repeat words in the URL. And if you do that too much, like if I also put self-storage again here, it's just starting to look spammy and we're adding these additional words just because we think it's going to help SEO where it typically doesn't. They're going to rank despite this just because they're a big brand. But if this was cleaner, I would prefer to remove the self-storage from here. So a lot of options for structure, and there's a lot of different opinions here. In my opinion, there's not really necessarily a right or wrong way. You can make almost anything work. I prefer a structure kind of like this that can be cleaner. So the example would be, and you could build off that in option 2 as well. You could do storage units or self-storage, and then you can go state, city, address. This is if you have a lot of locations. If you don't have a lot of locations, you're probably just going to do something like this, or you're even going to consider removing state and just doing city. Unless you have tons of locations throughout the state, it almost never is going to make sense for you to rank for self-storage in state. Most people don't even search that way anyway. But if you have a lot of locations and you're a big brand, it can make sense to have a state page. Even from a user standpoint, they can go to that page and see which facility is closest to them. So for most of you, it's just going to be /storage units. And then let's put that example here. Actually, this was the example. Yep. For most of you, you're just going to use this format, storage unit city. Now, the way I like to do it is a variation of this option 2 here. Now, what you can do here is have the address first, and then off the address, you have your different types of storage that you offer at that location. So almost like additional pages. So let's say you offered self-storage, RV, and boat. This is how you could potentially structure URLs to target self-storage in Austin, RV storage in Austin on this page, and then boat storage in Austin on this page. So it's important just to think about and be intentional with this. Either way, you can pretty much make work. I like this structure because this structure tends to allow me to target different types of storage in different cities instead of relying on just one page. Now, for most people, again here, what I would recommend is not adding address and city. That's really only if you have a ton of locations. For most of you, something like just /city, like this, and then /type of storage is going to cover you pretty well, because you might have storage in 2 different locations, but they actually offer different things. Maybe your Austin location has boat storage, but your Dallas location does not. And then you would not build this boat storage page off the back of your Dallas city page. So those are the kind of things you want to think about. What features and what things do you actually offer? And then you can start to thinking about the URL structure. I would always go to the search results and check, see what other people are doing, what's already working. There's a lot of things where I don't like to copy what's working. This is one where it typically makes sense to actually model what's actually working in your market. So that's URLs. So again, you want your keyword in there. You want your city name in there because that builds relevance around those terms. You don't want to overdo it. Like in this example, in my opinion, they're overdoing it by repeating self-storage. If you're a bigger company, you can get away with those things. As a smaller company, those types of things can actually hurt you. So first thing to do is audit and think about your URLs. Here's some best practices as well. You want the target keyword. You want these to be short and concise. You always want to use hyphens, like you'll see they're doing. You don't want to use underscores. So always use hyphens. And then make sure everything's lowercase. So if you have capitals, technically it's a different URL if I start adding capitals here. So you want everything to be clean, lowercase, in this format. Now, title tags. This is going to be one of your most important elements that you can optimize on your page. The title tag, if we look at this, doesn't actually show up on the page. This is more of a H1 tag. Could be the title of the page or the blog. A title tag actually shows up here in the browser. So it doesn't show up on the page, it shows up in your browser. This plugin here called SEO Meta in one click. You could add this to Chrome, and if you click on it, it'll tell you the title tag and the meta description and some SEO information of any page that you visit. So we can see what their title tag is. It's storage facilities near Austin, Texas. They have their brand name. Now, this is important because this is the copy that shows up here. This blue headline is your title tag, and the copy underneath it is your meta description, which we'll cover next. So it's basically like ad copy for your SEO. So really important to think about this and be intentional and actually optimize here. The title tag is actually one of the biggest factors in ranking in terms of on-page and things you control. Just by having your target keyword in this tag, you will typically see your rankings go up. Now, will you go up into position 1 from that? Probably not, but it will get you on the right track. So you always want to include your target keyword. For most people, I recommend storage units in then your city. So storage units in Austin as the beginning of your title tag. And then towards the end of the title tag, you want to really start thinking about, just like you would with an ad, how do I write this in a way that's going to encourage people to click on my listing versus everybody else? You'll see what Sparefoot does, and now Rent Cafe and a lot of people have copied, and all these do it. They do the from $19. Then you'll see we have from $10, and then Extra Space is copying that with from $13. In my opinion, this can work when no one else is doing it, but when 3 people are doing it, it doesn't work as well anymore. Now, you just blend in. There's really, if I look at this quickly as a potential person searching for storage, there's nothing in any of these tags that would make me want to click versus the other. They're all basically the same thing. Now, so that's one thing. So you definitely need the keyword in there. So storage units in Austin, like you'll see they have it here, storage units in Austin, self-storage units near Austin, storage units in Austin. You'll see they pretty much all have that. But at the end of the tag, we want to think about some way we could differentiate and really draw people in and get clicks. Now, sometimes it's price. Sometimes it's promos and discounts. If you have 50% off first month or $1 move-in, kind of like what you'll see people typically do in ads, you can do that in organic as well, and that can work. Sometimes if you don't want to be focused on price, or if you test that and your audience doesn't react well, or maybe everyone else is already doing that, you could start thinking more about features. Maybe security is really important, and you could tout how secure your facility is at the end of the tag, and that would stand out here. You could also do something like with your star rating. If you're like the highest rated facility in your area, you could actually say that at the end. It could be self-storage in Austin, highest rated facility, or 5-star reviews on Google. 5-star reviews I would probably do. I wouldn't use Google's name, but those are the types of things to start thinking about. There's no right answer to this. But that's what you want to do and what you want to test here, because once you get to the first page, the goal is to get people to click on your listing. The rankings really don't matter. Now, if more people start clicking on your listing, your rankings typically will go up, because that's a good sign to Google. If more people start clicking on Sparefoot than Public or Extra Space, that's a sign to Google that they are the best result. Google gets that data in real time, and Google will then move Sparefoot up in terms of their rankings as well. So very important to really work on this tag, and it's not set it and forget it. You don't just do this once and never do it again. You actually want to look at your data. You want to give it enough time, at least 4 weeks. I tend to like to do 6 to 8 weeks to really see the full effect of it. So this isn't something you're going to be doing every month for every location, but you're going to want to do this and then actually track the data and see what happens. Now, Google Search Console is probably the best spot to track the data for this. Now, I'll show you just in my personal account here. So inside of Google Search Console, what you can do is you can click on one of your pages. Like let's say this was a storage location page. You can click on this. And this would be the page you change your title on. And then I can click queries here. And this will show me all the keywords I rank for. And then I can click on one of these and I can actually see a few different metrics. I can see how my rankings are trending. In this case, I was in position 9. Now I'm up to position 3. So this one's working. I can look at click-through rate. It's a little bit hard to look at click-through rate here. In another video, we're going to show more advanced reporting And there's a tool called Looker Studio where I can pull this data out of here and put it into a better visual format. So sometimes it's hard to look at click-through rate in here because that's a good metric. It's the percentage of people that see you in the search results and actually click. So the copy there is very important. So yeah, so those are the kind of things. You could try things like parentheses. You'll see they're doing that here. The parentheses, the goal of that is to draw your eye in and make it stand out. You could use parentheses, brackets, numbers, work, all sorts of things, features, a lot of different ways you can do that. But again, think about it from look at your competitors, see what they're doing, and don't make this mistake of just copying exactly what everyone else is doing. You definitely need to copy somewhat, like you need the storage unit in your city keyword, but then use something unique at the end to actually try to get clicks. Then we get to character count. Keep these under 65. I would even try to keep them around 50 to 60 characters. There's no exact, like it varies quite a bit, but if your title tags are too long, let's see if I can find an example. They'll typically get truncated like this one. You'll see it has the ... and it doesn't show the rest of your tag. Same thing with your meta description. If it's too many characters, it won't show. So make sure you're not overdoing it. And then, yeah, we talked about being unique. There's a time and place to copy things, and certain things you do. There's certain things you need to copy. There's really no way to make it different. But the title tag is something that you do want to try to be unique on. Same thing with your meta description. Now, this is not as important as for rankings. If you add a keyword to your meta description, your rankings probably aren't going to go up. If you do that in your title tag, they probably will. But what happens is keywords do get bolded. You'll see here, self-storage, Austin, Google bolds it in the meta description. So this is the meta description here. So it's still important, but you really want this to read well. You don't want to just force keywords in here if they don't make sense. You want to write this in a way, again, so it's compelling and it drives clicks. So I purely think about meta descriptions from a click-through rate standpoint. How do we write something that will get people excited? Again, maybe it's price, maybe it's discounts and promos, maybe it's features. You kind of need to test that in your market to see what works. And you want to keep these under 155 characters so they're not truncated. Next up, we'll get to headings. So heading tags are these. They're just ways you can organize your content of your page and organize the structure of your page. What's cool about this SEO meta in one click, you can click on headers and it'll basically show us the headings they're using on this page and the structure. So H1 is going to be like the main heading on your page. And then underneath that, you're going to have your H2s. And then H3s would be, if there's a subsection of this, you would put that inside there. Like this is a good example, self-storage FAQs. And then they actually have the FAQs as H3s because they're relevant to this one. So think of these, you're kind of nesting these inside of each other. For most people, H1, H2, and H3 are all that are going to matter, and sometimes H1 and H2. So in your H1, typically you do want to include the location keyword here. I like to do a variation. In the title tag, I'll typically do storage units in the city. And then in the H1, I'll typically change it and do something like self-storage plus the city. So maybe Austin self-storage or self-storage in Austin, Texas, just to get that variation in there. You don't need the exact keyword everywhere. I like to have the variation here. This is not as impactful as the title tag, but it's still important. Things are competitive, so any little edge you can get. But you also want to make sure this reads well because this will show up. This will be the first thing someone reads on your page. So you don't want to just force a bunch of keywords here. You do want to try to get your main keyword variation in this. And then for your H2s, don't obsess over those. Just think about what makes sense on your page. So they have a section about finding convenient units. Let's look at this page here. So they have, this is their climate control page. Let's go into like this one here so we can see another example. So you'll see they have their main keyword, business storage units in Austin. Let's actually go to a specific location page. So here they have their brand name because I could search a lot. And they have self-storage units and then they have the location. Then they have this reserved today. They have nearby locations as a heading. Then they have this. Then they have FAQs. And then they have an area about the neighborhood. And then reviews. So think about the H2s as the way you're going to make sections for your content. And it helps make things skimmable. Really important for blog posts as well. But for these, don't obsess over keywords. Don't force things in there. Just make sure these make sense. Now, internal links. These are very important. And for self-storage websites, sometimes difficult to do. You want to link to other pages, but you also want to link from other content. Now, the concept with internal links, they're basically, it's how Google and users are going to find your content. So in this example, what public storage is doing to get more internal links to other content is they're including this, where it has the different cities they're targeting. And if I click on this, it'll take me to that city page. So that's the way they're using internal links to get to other pages. They also have these. So internal links are this clickable links that go to other pages on your website. They're also doing that. They're also linking here. And then they're also including nearby facilities as internal links. They even have this section here with all of the cities. So there's two components of internal links. There's the link itself. So here is the link. It's this Texas page. Then there's what's called anchor text. That's this text that somebody actually clicks on. This is very important. You want this to be descriptive and ideally include keywords, but you don't want to force the keywords again. So in this example, the reason you want to include keywords is this tells me I'm going to go to a page about this city in Texas. If I click on this one, Bethpage, New York, that's telling me I'm going to go to a page about Bethpage, New York. So Google actually uses that to help figure out what the page they're going to visit is about, and it can influence your rankings. So in this case, by having this Bethpage, New York text, that's going to help this page rank better for Bethpage storage units. So you want to have a plan for this, of making sure you're linking to other content, but you're also linking back to your location page. Now, if you only have one location, you'll see this is also called breadcrumbs here, where this is a good strategy if you have these what's called folders, all these different folders in the URL. This allows me to quickly get back to different pages. So I can go to the state page, I can go back to the city page, I can go back to the US page. So this structure is actually a good strategy if you have a bigger website with more locations. If you only have one, you don't really necessarily need this, but it's something also to think about. And again, to build more internal links to key pages. It also helps user experience for people to be able to easily navigate. So if you only have one location, having a blog can help you build more internal links. Now, the blog posts for self-storage are never really going to be a big driver of traffic for you. But if you have blog posts about your city, like a guide to moving to Austin, or another one about what it's like living in Austin, or about the best neighborhoods or things to do in Austin, inside those blog posts, you can link to your storage location page. You can weave in something about storage, how if you're moving to Austin, it's important to consider storage options. And one of the best facilities is located here in Austin. And then you could link back to your Austin page. So that's a way you can add internal links from blog content to your location page. When you have a small website with not many locations, that's really your best bet for internal links and building more. It's also going to build you some relevance for that area and that market that you're in. Now, your homepage is another spot that you're going to want to have internal links. So typically, like you'll see what they're doing here, they're linking to some of their location pages, and this seems to be tailored to my location. But this is another way you can get internal links from your homepage, which is really valuable because this is going to be one of your highest traffic pages. So adding something like this where you could link to your pages that you're trying to get to rank well is a good option. And then in your navigation, you're always going to have links to your pages. So your location pages or your storage types. And this, again, the text you use here should be relevant and should be somewhat keyword focused. Like here, it's clear I'm going to go to a page about business storage, and this text is going to help this page rank for business storage. So it gets into the nuance, but you want to make sure every page is linking out to other pages and other pages are linking back to your main page. Now, one other concept is called external links. I like to think about it like citing your sources. You don't need to do this on your location pages. Really, this only makes sense on blog posts. You want to link out to third-party websites that are credible and sources of information that you use for your blog posts. Again, it's citing your sources essentially. Don't need to do this on location pages. You don't want to send traffic to other people, but in blog posts, it is helpful. So it's something you're going to want to do in blog content. Then we're going to get to image optimization. Now, this is not going to be a huge impact, but again, things are competitive. Any little edge you can get can help. So with images, it looks like we got to fix this text here, but I'll do that. The main concept with images, you want the URL of the image to be optimized. So when you actually save the image, let's look at one of theirs here and we'll show as an example. If I right click and copy image address and then I paste it in, you'll see this is what they name the image. And this is pretty good. It has actually descriptive words in here. So it has a keyword storage facility and it's actually descriptive of the image itself, exterior front. So you don't necessarily need these numbers and letters. I would actually make this more concise. I would probably just do, and this number might be here for a reason. I haven't looked at it too closely, but I might just do something like this: storage facility, exterior front, and maybe even just get rid of all of this and just have it be really clean. But they have so many locations, they might have a reason. But this, what you name the image, when you upload it, that's what the URL of the image is going to be. So that's important to do. And then you're also going to want to add something called alt text. Now, alt text was originally designed for screen readers. And let's see if they have alt text here. If I right click and inspect, I can check. So I don't see it in this image. Let's go to this website here. We'll go to my website. Let's see if I have alt text on these images here. So let's see. Yeah, see right here, alt equals. So I just put it's their logo. So this text is designed for screen readers, but search engines do look at it to get a better understanding of what the image is. Since they can't actually see the image, they can only read the text and the code. So I would also include keywords there, but don't force it. Make it make sense. Just write something descriptive of the image and then make the URL. Also, you might want to compress your images so they don't, if your images are too large, it could slow down your page. So if you type in on Google free image compression tool, there's tools that will just compress your images and make the file size smaller. So that's worth doing just so you don't make your page load time too slow. So those are like core SEO elements. Now, the other thing to think about is actually getting rentals. So if you could do all the SEO in the world, but if your website's not very good, you're not really going to get many rentals and it's not going to convert and you're not going to make money or grow your facility. So really making sure that's optimized and having it easy to make the decision to book a rental. So when I look at location pages, again, this is where your conversions are going to happen. You want to have your property management software embedded so it's easy to rent or reserve a unit. But you also want to have information like social proof, star ratings, testimonials, things that are going to help people make the decision to book with you. You'll see we have reviews here. We have business information, so we know the hours. If we scroll down, we have reviews right embedded on the page. Now, some of these reviews aren't good, but this might be an automatic feed. So yeah, you can kind of see this, but this is the point of having this information here because users are only going to visit one page. They're rarely going to visit multiple pages. So if your reviews are not on this page, you're forcing them to go back to the search results and look that information up, or most likely they're going to leave and just go to another facility. So you want to have everything they need to make the decision right on this page and make it super easy and seamless. Having an integrated rental process is very important. A lot of websites, you'll be forced to go to a third-party site to finish the booking process. If we look here at one example of that. So this is not ideal. If I click this button, it actually takes me to the property management software's website. So I'm leaving my website, going to this website, and right away, you're already adding some friction for users. They're going to be a little bit confused. They see storage. They don't see the brand they were on. They're not going to know that this is a property management software. This also looks very intimidating and long. So you could do all the marketing, all the SEO, and then you get to this point and people are not finishing this process. Where when it's seamless and integrated, like this is an example, it's integrated in their website. So already we're reducing friction. I would probably try to make this look less intimidating too. Like it's nice to actually make this look super simple and people just fill in a few fields to get the rental started. So those are the types of things you're going to want to think about. Again, you can have really good rankings on Google and get a lot of traffic, but if you're not optimizing conversions and actually the conversion rate process and your rental process, you're leaving a lot of money in rentals on the table, and those rentals are just going to your competitors. So this gets overlooked. A lot of times there's limitations with your website provider. There might not be as much you can do there, but it's really important to think about this. Your results, all your marketing is going to be impacted by this. If you could improve that process and make it easier to book units, every single marketing you do will work a lot better. So very important. Do things like social proof on your page, reviews, testimonials. Think about anything that would be helpful for someone to make the decision and get that on your page. And then really hone in on your rental process. And is that seamless? And could it be better? If so, figure out what you can do to improve that. Now, the final step, which can be difficult, is conversion tracking. It's ideal if you can set up a tool like Google Analytics and send the rental data into Google Analytics. So then you can see exactly which of your marketing is driving rentals. This can be challenging. A lot of property management software and website companies make this very difficult to do, which can be frustrating because you need this data. Without this data, you're always guessing in terms of what's actually working, and you can't make those informed decisions on reallocating your marketing budget. You might be running Google ads and doing SEO, but you have no idea which one's actually working better or where to adjust your budget to improve your rentals and performance. So we're not going to cover conversion tracking right now, but talk to your property management software and your website company and ask them if they can set up tracking for you in Google Analytics so you can see which marketing channels are driving your rentals and reservations. Ask them to do that, see what they say, but that's very critical. That makes all this other stuff. It's going to give you a deeper understanding of all these other things. So with this lesson, I know we covered a lot here. The next step for everyone to do is audit your own location page that you're trying to get to rank. If you're not sure which page is ranking too, you can always search the keyword on Google and keep scrolling till you find your website and see if Google is showing your homepage or your location page. That's one way to figure that out. But click on this link and audit your page. So right here, we have an on-page checklist where you can go through each item and mark yours as pass or fail. And then you'll have a good idea of what you need to change in terms of your URLs, your titles, your meta descriptions, your headings, body copy, links, all of these things. Go through this and see where you stand. And then once you have this audit done, you'll know exactly what you need to change. So that's going to help you get started and put together a plan. And then once you know what to change, you can use this sheet to map out your changes. I like to do it this way because then I have a record of what I changed. So what's cool about this sheet is if you add your URL to this column, it'll automatically tell you what your title tag, your meta description, and your H1 heading is. So it's pretty cool. It'll pull that information for you. And then you could write in what you want to change each of those 3 tags to, and then implement it. This is a good way to map out your changes. And then once you have some data in a few weeks, you could see if it worked. If it didn't, you could start to think about why. Maybe the copy didn't resonate. You could always put back what you had. Or if it outperforms, then you'll have some information that you can apply to future locations. But this testing process is really critical. So again, action items are audit your key pages, so your location pages or any other pages you want to rank. Go through this audit and then start mapping out your changes on what you're actually going to change and then implement that. And then, like I said, in a future lesson, we will cover how to track and report and analyze. But for now, start with this on-page optimization and implement that. And then we'll start tracking results in a future week.